This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan. With your host, Bradley Summers. And get the latest from Alpena Community College with ACC President Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning, welcome to Talk of the Town. I hope you all are enjoying all this wonderful fun weather that we've been getting all throughout this weekend. Today, my first guest is Justin Christensen Cooper, the Executive Director at the Art in the Loft. Hey, Justin.
Hey, Brad. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I like this couch a lot. Yeah, it's a good one.
Thanks for being here again.
You got it. That's not a problem. There's always something to talk about. You know
always.
Even
if it's personal, professional. I mean, I know we see each other outside of our work environments too.
That's true. Yeah.
But here, we're set to talk about all the wonderful things that you're doing at Art in the Loft and your team and what you're doing for the community.
Wonderful.
Want to talk a little bit about some of the upcoming programs that you have?
Let's do that. You know, it's been interesting. So when someone asks, you know, what are you doing at the Loft or what's coming up or what, I always immediately, I know you have one, the 2-minute elevator speech?
Oh yeah, we all have that.
Yeah, we all have that. So the thing that I've been really going to is that we've seen a return of Ready, Set, Create. So Ready, Set, Create is our longest running arts education. It's our flagship school program. So we've kind of hung our hat on that for many years. It started back in 2011. And so it's been going on for, you know, what should have been, we should have been getting into our 12th year of this program. Well, COVID unfortunately stopped that. So this fall, it was back in September, so now we really are a bit into it now and kids are just so enjoying it, is the return of that. So after almost 3 years off, which is just wild to think about. And so what this does is it brings it's funded by the Alpena County Youth and Recreation Committee, which you know about.
Yep.
And without that funding, we would not be able to do this program. And so what they help fund are 4 weeks of arts instruction for every single Alpena Public Schools 4th grader, which is so cool. Typically it's around 400. We get a group from Pied Piper School, and then we do the parochial and homeschool groups as well. So Emmanuel Lutheran, All Saints, we're going to do the partnership program over at Sunset School as well. And then there's the coach homeschool group that we get in for 4 weeks of arts instruction. The cool thing is we really try to work with the schools on what they're doing in the classroom. So specifically with public schools, we go to them and say, you know, we understand we're taking the kids out of the school. We want to make this very worthwhile. That's always been the thing. Like, they just can't go and do art and draw on a paper, right? They got to do something, you know. And so we really develop a curriculum that sort of mirrors and mimics what they're doing in the classroom. So this year for all of our 4th graders, they are doing art through learning Michigan history, which is so cool.
Yeah.
So we're getting into like Ojibwa Native Americans, and we're getting into, do you know the Great Lakes around us? Like what, you know, from the view at the top of the loft, you can see the lake, and the first thing we do is point to the water, and I say, what is that? And they'll say it's the lake, and I say, okay, well, what's it called, and what are we a part of? So it's just really interesting to kind of see what is their prior knowledge coming in, and then we build on that knowledge of where they live, who they are, where they grow up, and then make that into art. I mean, that's such a cool thing.
Yeah, that's really cool. So it's not just, hey, it's homes.
Right. I mean, some kids do that actually, which is really great.
That is really cool. You know, to bring that, you know, that opportunity for these kids to learn about the world that's around us, especially the Great Lakes.
Well, especially, and, you know, and it's just such a unique area, and be able to, you know, the kids are just sponges and they take it in. And so the first thing that I had them do when they came into the group back in the fall was I wanted them to take a half a sheet of paper, and I said, I want you to draw what you think the outline of Michigan looks like. It's just so wild to think, like, you know, some had it spot on and some forgot the UP, and some had like 80 miles between the UP and the,
poor UP.
You know, I know, poor UP. And I was like, don't forget about the Mackinac Bridge. And then it's like you take it a next step and say, okay, well, and then you show them, and they're close or they're not close. And then where do you think Thunder Bay is? Where do you think Alpena is? And then you start getting really into what was this land before we were here?
Yeah.
You know, what's the significance of the shipwrecks here? It's just very, very interesting stuff that we get into. And then by the end of it, the end of the 4 weeks, we've created 3 really unique projects, and some of the kids are proud of.
That's really cool, yeah, because we have such a rich Native American American history.
That's exactly right.
Right here on the land that we walk around on every single day.
Exactly. So.
You know, and a lot of times kids may not know some of that.
No, exactly. You know, it all has a purpose and a reason, and it's great to tap into that and then be creative at the same time.
So I know you have some other really wonderful things going on as well.
We do.
Outside of just the Ready, Set, Create.
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, we do. So we have another program. It's another partnership with the schools. The public schools have been great with us to get kids through our programming. But another one that is well underway right now is our REACH program.
REACH.
Yep. So that's Recognize Everyone's Abilities in Creative Hearts. That's the acronym. There you go. You can put it at the bottom of the screen. So, and they won't do that. That's okay. That's fine. I understand. Right. So we do that with ACES Academy. That's the newest one. We do that with the high school special needs students, and we do that with Pied Piper as well. Typically, it's a little bit more intense, and it's a lot more time in the gallery because we do culinary arts and cooking skills with them, and then partner that and pair that with the visual arts. So right now we are about 2 weeks into ACES Academy, and the great thing about ACES Academy is it's youth at risk. You know, they're at risk of graduating, so they're already in a situation where, you know, they need to make up ground or to be successful in something. You know, find success and build on that success. That's what REACH is about. And we do that with all types of different students. So this is not your straight A student that's coming through and, you know, and all that kind of thing. We're really tapping into how can you learn differently to be better in life. And so we found that through cooking, and we found that through art. And the cool thing with ACES Academy is they're getting a credit towards graduation, and they're walking away with their ServSafe certification, which makes them employable immediately.
That's awesome.
I know. So that, to me, is just so rewarding that we're able to fulfill that. And that program is run through a Michigan Arts and Culture Council grant that we partner with the schools. So the schools get the grant, the contract with us, and then we're able to do that. So we do 2 ACES groups a week, 15 students each, and at the end, last time we did it, they did a chopped competition where they got a basket of ingredients of all the things they learned about throughout the 8 weeks, and then they competed against each other. It's just so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and I know this is a really passionate and purposeful program that you're running. You know, I know at the last special event that you had up at the loft, you know, I heard your mom talk about just, you know, the impact that this program has. And, you know, we work with it, you know, where I'm at too, we work with some of these students, and that passion and purpose is
exactly right.
It's so important that they feel that, and then they take something away from it. And
it's incredible. You know, and I'll just build on there. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because it really is, it takes a team to put these things on. You know, I come on here and talk about this, but it's my mom, it's our staff, it's our partnerships with the schools, and it's the teachers. You know, if we didn't have the investment from the teachers for Ready, Set, Create, for REACH, we wouldn't be having this program, you know, because they're carving out time to make sure that these kids get it. And so it's just so cool to kind of see that all come together.
Well, and it's just, that's the spirit of the community, is bringing all these resources together to make something better for somebody else.
That's exactly it.
You know, the Art in the Loft is extraordinarily lucky to have you and your team and your wonderful board of directors and volunteers.
Appreciate
and everybody plays a really important part to those resources being brought to Northeastern Michigan.
That's exactly it.
So thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you being on again.
Right. You got
Please stay tuned after the break for Rachel Burzak from Hope Shores Alliance. Welcome back, everybody. My next guest is Rachel Burzak from the Hope Shores Alliance. Hi. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being here again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's great as I keep getting my feet wet in the show, you know, that I'm starting to see more and more familiar faces every time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know with all the initiatives that you have going on at the Hope Shores Alliance, you're very busy, you and your team, you know, especially as the Outreach and Prevention Coordinator. Wow, I got it right. Perfect. You know, I know right now is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, which, you know, is a really important issue in our community for young people to learn how to have healthy relationships and being able to navigate the crazy hormones and relationships and, you know, and a lot of things that, you know, these young people have questions about. You're putting a lot of awareness right now in the community and for these young people to understand those things, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So we have started what we call our Everyday Advocate Community Learning Programs, because anytime we do an awareness month, that's kind of our slogan, our approach is everyday advocacy, believe, support, validate. So what does it mean for all of us as community members and just human beings existing in this town together? What does it mean for all of us to believe, support, and validate survivors, in this case, survivors of teen dating violence? Because quite honestly, Hope Shores Alliance is a last stop for a lot of people. They come to us when they've lost the rest of their support systems, either through isolation and other tactics that abusers use, or just because of the cycle of violence and, you know, leaving and then coming back, leaving, then coming back, or just the shame and the guilt that can come along with surviving some of those experiences. A lot of times survivors have no support systems left by the time they come to us. And don't get me wrong, we are honored and glad to be that support for them. But what would it look like if we had a community that really stood alongside and behind survivors on that whole journey through the ups and downs? I think we'd be living in quite a different society if we just believed people, met them where they're at, and asked, what do you need from me to be a support? So that's what these workshops are designed to do, to educate and empower the average community member. You don't need to be a therapist or a staff person at Hope Shores Alliance to be able to support, validate, believe, and really bring meaning and connection and healing to survivors, especially teen survivors, who I can only imagine being a teenager is hard enough already. We don't need to look back on our experiences.
No.
We don't have enough time for that. But if we can put ourselves in their positions, that's already an overwhelming time in your life. You're starting to individuate, you're starting to learn who you are as an individual person, what your identity is, what you want to do, who you want to be. You're growing more interested in romance and dating and partnership and what that means. So not only is it like a high risk time, we have about 1 in 3 American teenagers reporting experiencing dating violence at some point, and about 1 in 3 teen girls who report severe physical, sexual, and emotional abuse at the hands of a dating partner. So not only is it high risk, though, it's also the best opportunity, the best time to intervene, to teach kids who maybe are starting to demonstrate abusive behaviors and abusive tendencies a different way to be.
Yeah.
So that's what it's meant to empower teens to be the experts in their own situations, but also to empower the rest of us as a community to learn how to listen and support them in the best ways possible.
Emotionally, how do you deal with some of this, you know? And I ask from, you know, some personal experience with, you know, with some of the young people that I have conversations with, that, you know, it's really hard to listen to some of these things. I mean, listen is the key word. You need to listen, but you know, to hear some of these situations that these young people are in, and you know, you had said it too. It's we're trying to form, you know, these teenagers to have these resources so that when they become our ages, that you know, they're productive human beings with healthy relationships. Well, you know, at those young ages, if they're seeing, you know, that negativity, that just kind of keeps going with them through life.
Yeah.
How do you deal emotionally, you know, hearing some of these stories and working with some of these people? You know, how is that?
Well, I have a really good therapist for start, and I say that laughing, but truly it is. I think we all could use a therapist at least at certain points. So it is really important to have a strong support system for us to know we can take these feelings and get support around it, because we carry a lot of what we call vicarious trauma, and I'm sure you do too with the work that you do. So it's really, I try to remind myself that survivors, even teen survivors, are whole, resourceful, resilient human beings who have come this far already, and who thankfully felt safe enough to come to me or to you or to whoever to disclose this. So I kind of hold on to that and try to foster that relationship the best that I can, knowing like I can't save anyone, right? I don't think that's the job of anybody else, but we can support people and uplift them so that they are better capable to save themselves, whether they're 13 or they're 60.
Yeah, and I don't mean to put you on the spot asking that question. It's just, because I think it's really important that, people and individuals that, that are helping in these situations with these things, that you take care of yourself as well, and
absolutely.
So that you can better suit the clientele or the people that need those resources. So I'm always interested and curious that it isn't like it's a bottle of wine every night and I forget, but it's always nice to know, the different ways that people cope with these things and on a very serious matter.
Absolutely.
So anything else before we wrap up here that you would like to tell the community?
Yeah, so our February Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month workshop for Alpena is happening this Thursday at the George N. Fletcher Library. We have intentionally partnered with local libraries for these learning programs because libraries are such a consistent, accessible place of support for people from all walks of life. So we will be there from 6:30 to 8 p.m. This program is free and open to anybody. We'll be in the upstairs meeting space up there. So we encourage you all to come out, bring your kids, bring your friends, and let's have a really good conversation about how we can do better for the youth in our community.
Awesome. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Cool. So I'll see you there.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and thank you so much for being on the show and talking about these important issues. I look forward to a lot more future conversations and a lot more opportunities and resources that we can pass along to people in our community that so desperately need it.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us as we continue to endeavor the world of nonprofits in our local community. Have a great weekend. Please stay tuned after the break for the ACC segment.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College. We're filming here on Friday morning, the day after we had a nasty sleet and ice and snowstorm. I hope everyone's warm and well and looking forward to the weekend. I had two of my successors, or predecessors, I should say, Dr. Don Newport, who was president of Alpena Community College for 16 years, and Dr. Olin Joynton, who was president for 11. Two very successful presidents in my view, great friends, great mentors. Both shared a view of Alpena Community College and community colleges in general that I would like to talk about today, and that was the middle part of the name, the community part. And there are some schools, some community colleges that have taken that out of their name because they fear that people devalue the school because it's a community college. And if they take that out, they feel that the perception of potential students and attendees is higher. It seems errant to me and not real persuasive. At Alpena Community College, as Olin used to say, community is our middle name, and we do a lot of outreach. We have a lot of opportunities for the community to interface with the college. We think this is a good thing, both for the college and for the community. And just a couple of things this week to illustrate that. Tomorrow, weather permitting, we will host something called Science Olympiad. This is a wonderful event that's been going on for close to 2 decades, I think. And it was really the work and the passion of ACC instructor Deb Hawtaw, a biology instructor. And she does this in addition to her faculty load. And the event, really for those who aren't familiar with it, brings to campus probably 6 or 8 high school teams and 6 or 8 junior high teams who compete on science-related topics. And some of those topics might be cell biology, anatomy, physiology, the right stuff, reading maps, in-depth, difficult, interesting science challenges. And then there are also construction events where student teams build things, planes that fly, or gliders, or bottle rockets, or trebuchet devices, and then they compete against set criteria. So it's a full day of a lot of activity, a lot of science kids and their parents and their coaches. Teams will come often from as far away as Mackinac City or Inland Lakes. Oscoda sends a team, of course Alpena does, Tawas does. And this is a really neat thing. It allows bright young people who may not be the top athletes or the prom king or queen to have their moment, and it's meaningful. And so we'll probably have 200 or 300 young people, and maybe 100 parents and their coaches tromping around ACC tomorrow, all day, starting fairly early and ending in late afternoon with the award ceremony. The 2 winning teams at the high school level, at the junior high level, generally the top teams, sometimes 2 teams in the division, depending on how many teams attend, will then compete at the state level. And this will pit them against other really top, really bright students and teams. And often Alpena wins that competition. But then they go to the state and they compete against some really well-resourced and top-notch schools. And we do well historically. And so kudos to Deb Hawtaw. I think she has absolutely the right take on this event. It brings students to campus. They're able to see what ACC looks like, what it might have to offer. It can be and is indirectly a recruiting and marketing endeavor, but really it's a way for the college to be hospitable to people who are avid learners and bright and down to earth and fun people. So that happens tomorrow. During the week we had a group from the Combat Readiness Training Center in for training that they needed a space for or wanted to get off site. And we do that about once or twice a year with them. Wonderful people, very bright, very important role in the community. And we host them, and we're glad to be able to do it. Midweek, we had men and women's basketball. We played the team from Petoskey, North Central Michigan College. Both women and men won. And kudos to them and coaches, women's coach Cindy DeRocher and men's coach Bobby Allen. The women have a fine team, and they're led by Jade Schultz, who I think scored over 30 points that game. Must be nearing the career scoring title with the Lumberjacks, I think. We need to check on that. And on the men's team, Jamison Williams at the point is playing really good ball. Both teams are a pleasure to watch. And then here in the studio, ACC participates with Channel 11 and a number of area K-12s in something called Knowledge Bowl, which is a really fine event. Bright young people, teams who test themselves on current events. This aggregates some really, really sharp young people. And it's a great event that Channel 11 hosts. Dr. Carol Walchak moderates. ACC folks do judging work. And it's a pleasure to be around these teams and these young people. So these are some of the things that we do out in the community. We're glad to be able to do them. And thank you folks for watching, and see you again next week.
And Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at WBKB11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production. All rights reserved.